Space Flamenco. Hey everybody, welcome back to Space. This is X's for Show, your favorite media response show, and we are here to have a great time on this Saturday night. I'm Nico, and you can check me out at Nico Action. That's NICOACTION. Oh.
And I'm TK. You can find me at TK Elemental.
And I'm your producer, Kevo, and you can find me at Kevo Really.
And we are here today to talk about one of the most sacred things to a nerd. That's right. We are here to talk about Starfleet crews of famous Star Trek TV shows. We tried to stick to main crews, and there were a couple of places I made some choices. There were some places that I said, let's go a little more Terry Crews than strict Starfleet crews. A couple of places I went a little bit more Penelope Cruz. Because, you know, when you're talking about a Starfleet crew, you're kind of talking about the show. And, like, I didn't put Jake Sisko down. But, you know, there were a couple of people where I'm like, I mean,
there was a minute there where I
really...
was going to get a little academic with you. Or not even academic, but, like, other crews that we have seen that are, like, full-fledged crews. And, like, getting everybody. Because we actually haven't seen that many. Like, a bunch get referred to, but we don't, through all of these shows, we don't actually see that many other crews besides whatever the main crew is on the season. But like Voyager, of course, encounters a couple. Disco encounters a couple. I was going to kind of see, do we count the Picard legacy crew differently than Picard's crew? And do we call that something different? But ultimately, I like what you came up with. I was just like, when we were initially talking about it, I was like, there is actually a lot of ways to define a bridge crew throughout Star Trek. And it's funny that we don't get that many.
I think that's why we structured it the way that we did as well, because we want to uphold the spirit of the fact that a lot of these shows, they have changes, but sometimes they don't. Sometimes they're minor, sometimes they're major. And it's important to recognize that there are shifts from start to finish. And, so it is a choice.
And I just want to remind everybody that Anson Mount is so beautiful, it defies convention and logic. But he actually represents something really in the spirit of what TK was just saying, which is that there is essentially a number of very sacred and few Starfleet ships and crews that we've seen over the years, but never really gotten to see. And, you know, getting Pike. Let me in, Pike. I'm hungry.
Love them.
Getting Pike and his ship and his crew, it actually fills in like a big question mark in fandom. And it's my favorite crew right now. It's hard not to be grateful to somebody saying, hey, there's a couple of crews. Let's go fill that in.
And you're also kind of speaking to my point, which is like, I can't believe they didn't introduce other crews. Like, as soon as the Strange New World crew shows up in Discovery, or really as soon as Pike shows up, it kind of gets a little spicier, and you start thinking a little bit, because you know he's going to go off and captain the Enterprise.
Go off, King.
And, it just kind of made me reflect on, like, how cool it would have been to backdoor a pilot through any other Star Trek by means of introducing a crew and getting, through multiple guest appearances, getting a group of people that the audience would love, which is something not Star Trek ever would have done until now. And now I'm like, I want to see, like, beta test me some other crews on your shows.
I mean, that's by all means.
Well, and Nico and I recently started TOS, and so it's interesting, but in that vein, we are experiencing a lot of classic characters that it would be really interesting to see appear, make some sort of, like the way that we've gotten a lot of Sam Picard on Strange New Worlds, which is not Sam Picard, Sam Kirk, which is amazing because he only ever appeared on TOS dead. So it's really awesome to get to see that, and it would be really interesting. There's a lot of those types of characters that we could see.
And now he's gay.
Well, and so I want to add a couple of things here. I made a couple of weird typos while typing out this episode's information. Number one, I mistyped Jean-Luc Picard as Jean-Luc Picard, and I was like, oh, Tone Loc would have made a terrible Starfleet captain.
Jean-Luc Picard.
I also typed out Juan Luke, and now I'm like, ooh, a Latino Picard would be a lot of fun, especially if you went like Portuguese, so that it could be a sort of Spanish French fusion culture, very Top Chef restaurant wars. But okay, all of that said, I wanna jump us forward just slightly, because in typing out everything for this episode, we put together an unbelievable opportunity to decide how this is all gonna go. Imagine if you were a young kid watching Guts, because obviously you all watched Guts, and you could control when the aggro crag exploded at somebody and sent them to their fiery foamy doom. You would, right? Well, we're inviting you to control the crag with us today. Mo and TK, talk a little bit about Tiermaker for a sec so people know what the boop bop they're doing.
I mean, I think everybody knows Tiermaker at this point. It's a very simple system. It's going to show you each of these Star Trek crews over there on the right and ask you to rank them. And I want to say this time around, I did something a little different. We all know that every Star Trek crew is awesome. Star Trek is what we all strive to be at our best. And I decided that this was one where we were not going to have any Ds. Some crews are just average. They're good. They're good guys. I think we all know who we're talking about, and when we get there, they will get the grade that they need. But other crews are really just absolutely fantastic. They are absolutely the top of the toppest tier, and those are our S+. So a typical tier is S, A, B, C, D, but this time around we are doing S+, S, A, B, and C. As you select one to vote for, it'll take you to the next one, and you can just vote through them all. And we have the link set up so that anybody can come and join us to vote. This will run for 24 hours, so we'll give you a little update tomorrow. But for now, we'll see where we get at the end of the episode, and we'll go from there.
I am so excited to get to play along. One of the things that I really like about Tiermaker is that it's a bummer when we do our brackets that there's stuff that gets like off the board. You never want to knock anything you love out. As we're gonna
EQs.
Yeah, as we're gonna talk about tomorrow on the show. Oh gosh, sometimes you'll be playing a game like Traders, and somebody will be like, I am so mad because this person is literally saying they hate me for life by making this decision on this game show. I never want I don't know, Batman to think that that's what's happening because I said Modern Family could beat him up. So one of the things that I enjoy about Tiermaker is it's just a different style of game ranking. So
Galactic.
Henley, right? So excited to have Ali Galactic in the audience. When we're talking
play.
Yeah, we're talking about galactic choices here. One of a kind, Ali Galactic. I can't wait to hear your brilliant choices. I'm just stoked. I'm thrilled. I'm ready to get in this. So, you guys, we ready?
So ready.
So,
all right. So let's kick things off with the show that started it all. When you're talking about TOS, one of the things is you need to kind of remember that early on, this crew was not originally a crew. It's regular James T. Kirk, mostly regular Spock, and then recurring the fuck out of everyone else. and it's not really till the films that it's like crew. And so as Kevo is so amazingly as producer hopping in, we got James T. Kirk. That's because Tiberius is a badass middle name, and he wants to. It's not like James Percival Kirk, you know. And no offense.
Better than Riberius, am I right?
Oh,
James R. Kirk.
Right. Spock, Leonard McCoy, which every time I kept going to fix the Wikipedia, it'd be like, no, it's Leonard Nimoy. Montgomery Scott, Nyota Uhura, Hikaru Sulu, one of my favorite performers from all of Kingdom Hearts, and Pavel Chekhov. I'm from Saraville, New Jersey, so everybody I went to school with was named Pavel Chekhov. And I'm gonna start the game.
Okay.
They're a B. They're cool. They're really cool, and other versions of them are cooler. I think my problem is it's a little too much old stuffy white guy energy. Like, if I wanted this many stuffy white guys being pushy, I could go to either a family reunion or would preferably just go see 1776 as dinner theater.
Yeah,
I'm actually super stoked that you said B, because it gave me a little bit of permission to also say B. Because it is kind of that. We're gonna get better versions of these characters that make it okay for me to rank them. The big thing for me is Uhura. I hate putting Uhura on a B rank. But I'm gonna get to vote for Uhura again on another crew.
Six more crews.
So
yeah,
you know,
and Uhura at this point was also kind of weird. Everyone's kind of weird. I think this is mostly getting points for being, the original, for pushing the boundaries, for setting the tone, but like, it's also got to get a lot of dings. I'm probably also going to be it.
I wonder if we're gonna get Sulu this season on Strange New Worlds.
Who did I just say I wanted? Someone dumb. Probably Gary Mitchell.
I would also love if Gary Marshall and Penny Marshall were on.
I was just about to make a Penny Marshall joke. God damn it.
But I do want to say Ali Galactic coming in OG at S, because Lenny Nimoy, Nichelle, and
Respect.
DeForest, which, we try not to be positive on deforestation, but well, and I do want to say the unhingery, the weirdosity. Yeah, I love that you never know if you're getting an episode of My So-Called Life or an episode of Lord of the Flies.
But that's the thing. We're not doing episodes this time around. This is not the shows. This is not the episodes. This is specifically the crew. And it's all over. It's not just how they perform in the episodes, but how would they do on the real world? How would they do in the Big Brother house? Who makes the best sandwich? It's everything. So it's really got to be the crew. It can't be the episodes, because, some great crews have some bad episodes compared to some other ones. So crew all the way.
Let's not forget the worst crews, Speed 2 Cruise Control.
Oh, I thought you were just going to say Tom.
Tom, can you hear me?
The worst. The absolute worst.
Anyway.
Are we set?
Yeah.
I'm set. Bet. Okay.
So this, I here's how I understand we are judging this. It is the TNG crew here, the original idea and conception with young Wesley, with Tasha Yar, all of this. And then the next one is how we feel about TNG through its changes, which is why it has Pulaski and it has Guinan, it has Wesley and it doesn't have Wesley, because it stayed a lot true to its core, which is why it was able to get the cast it got for Picard 3 and be fine. But, there's the original idea and there's what it became.
You have absolutely nailed it. I think, Nico, you're kind of the arbiter of that, because you structured this.
Yeah, I mean, that was really my intent here. Part of the problem is when you're talking about a Starfleet captain-crew relationship, the first thing is the captain is not the same person that he is at the beginning as he is at the end of their tenure, which is why I wanted to give Discovery 642. But so one of the things that meant is that first season TNG isn't just different because it has Tasha Yar, a deeply undervalued and underutilized character. It isn't just different because it has Beverly before they tried some shit and then that didn't work. It's significant because Picard here is tough. He is a hard man. And the man he is at the end is avuncular to pieces. And one of the greatest joys of my life is the transformation of Picard into a character that says your taste in wine is pedestrian at best. And if we couldn't look at the development of a Starfleet crew by virtue of its evolution as two separate entities, sort of like your cloud cards and your clear card arcs, it would be really hard to appreciate the Sakura card for the deck. You know what I mean? So, try the one again for you. Try the one again for me.
What does that say for your vote?
Oh, for this particular one, I thought you guys just wanted what I thought about the format.
Well, no, I know, no, I think yes,
now.
we did, but now we're transitioning into
this is S all the way,
okay.
Because you gave me S plus, which by the way is Sparamount. It's Cisney. It's
SmemGM.
It's I got close to something that made me sad. It's
all pluses.
Discovery Plus. It's a lot of the thong song. Ooh, that dress. Anyway, so this gets an S from me.
Respect.
And it can't get an S plus. And here's why. Like I said, I don't love this Picard. I do love the way that he sort of dawdles around in that one episode. He's like, Maman. He's like, Nancy, Maman, we invoke thee. Like at some points, it's so absurd. But the other thing that this early crew has is early next generation ideas of what crew dynamics are, and it is mostly women going, yes, and I have many opinions. Is it okay? Is not now?
Can I say them?
I'm sorry. I haven't seen women demure out of the spotlight this hard from a team sport since American Gladiators. And it's just so absurd that these brilliant, incredible women didn't get to shine the way they deserved yet. So it's a little tough for me here, but S all the way.
Respect. This is an A for me. They are not. I mean, you nailed all the reasons why. Yeah, I mean, Wesley being the worst is both like why they're all the way up at an A and also why they are not an S or an S plus for me. Wesley as the Kitty Pryde, as the young person's perspective character is great as an idea, but he's terrible. He's so annoying. The fact that Shut Up Wesley is even a thing is not great. Poor Tasha just never finds her footing. Without
God,
the beard.
I wish she had slipped to death or something, so that could have been just a really killer joke.
Without the beard, Riker is rough. Worf,
Yes.
Worf really does become basically a different character. I don't know what's happening.
Where you come from?
I don't know what's happening with Crusher. So yeah, anyway, long story short, this ranking is going to really shoot up as things change. But for me, this initial version is A.
Kevo, this was your first real, foray into the fleet. How do you feel about Next Gen looking back?
I'm probably going to go with the same vote as TK and go with A, because this is really great. And, there are even things that I would have kept if I could have. Ali Galactic makes the point of saying Yar should have been able to stay on the show. And I would have loved more of Tasha and not the weird Romulan time-displaced daughter bullshit. Like, that was annoying. I wanted more real Tasha. But Yeah, I feel like it takes until seasons 2 and 3 to really get down Wesley's role in the scheme of things. A lot of the character dynamics takes a while to figure out. Like you said, it's before the end of the first season that Picard really mellows, but still at the onset it is kind of rough. So I'm probably going to go with an A myself.
All right, that average is A. All right, now these guys, yeah, they're still an S for me. And here's the thing that makes it tough. By the end, and this is so stupid, it really is. By the end, they're really ineffectual, and I think they deserve to be Watchmen. Like, by the end, everybody's like, no fucking Borg, just play poker, you morons. Shut up. Somebody take the anxiety programming out of Data's humanity. Can we just please already? We just want to drink wine. Like, can we just do Space the View already? Is it Space the View? You know, I realize that we've lost the war on older white people and wine when Tori Amos released an entire line of signed posters that are just her drinking wine on a dock. That for me was the moment where this is just like the culture now. And, you know, the comings and goings. I hate Ro. I think she's the worst thing that ever happened to any version of Star Trek ever, bar none, ever. And I love Guinan. I love Guinan so much. I wish that there was. I just wish that like you could literally summon up an AI of Guinan to talk you through problems. S all the way.
I still so this
and
is
yeah, Pulaski still.
Pulaski, I think Pulaski actually helps raise this up to beyond an A for me, because you do need to have this person in the room who is a consummate professional and sucks. Because this is the truth of the Enterprise crew. They all style themselves consummate professionals. They are all like, Picard is so good when the captain from Legacy is like, you guys are always getting into hijinks. Because Picard presents himself as never doing hijinks, refusing to be involved in hijinks. And for 7 seasons, it's hijinks all the way. It's ignoring commands to do what he wants.
What if we poked this with a stick?
Exactly. And Pulaski represents that early on not being like what Starfleet would want, when she is like, no, Data, you are property.
So you're,
because that's
so Pulaski is the John Wells of the Aaron Sorkin universe.
Yeah, I mean, in a lot of ways, very much so. And so having her there, especially in season 2, really sets the tone for later hijinks, and the fact that like this crew of people has just gone off the rails. Losing Wesley, great move. Although I wish he would have guest starred a little bit more. Guinan, fantastic. I love Ro. I don't care about Ro. I love Michelle Forbes.
And the spirit with which she came back to this franchise, that actress, what a one of a kind spirit. Really.
Truly. Marianne, Admiral Kane. She did a third thing that I like. She's great. I'm still gonna say S, because S is amazing. It's so good. And going beyond S, I really am going to reserve for the game changers for me. Star Trek The Next Generation, fantastic. Got me floored. Started my Trekkie journey.
Same.
Maybe not quite yet a game changer. So I'm going S. I love them so much, and I'm not going to use that S plus tier until I really think those are the champs.
Kevo, are you going to use your immunity potion this week or no?
I love to smash that extra like button, so I really think I might give this my first S plus. I don't think I'm going to have a ton of S plus, but the representation of what TNG became, and the fact that it was able to rotate in and out characters like Pulaski, characters like Wesley, characters like Ro, and then it sort of had this potential to have continued going on and perhaps even introducing new fun characters instead of having to go on the terrible movie journey it went on. So I really love it for that, and I love it for the potential it could have had. And so I think I'm gonna go with S+ for this.
I love that. I think we average an S, but I love that. And I just want to say, I think it's so cool that we have like such an amazing audience pool that Ali Galactic is excited to see the awesome Tasty Cake. It's just such a cool thing when you have as cool a crew as we do. And that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about the coolest crew.
Cool crews, yeah.
And Tasty Cake, please feel free to find the link on our Twitter and go rank along with us. We want to know what everybody thinks. Allie, of course, that goes for you too. Anybody who's watching, links on our Twitter. Link is popping up in our Chiron down there. So find it and vote along with us.
So I'm going to use this to copyright something, hashtag in the ether. When I finally get around to releasing my 9 Inch Nails EP, it's going to be called 9 Inch Nico. Hey, what's up? I only wish I could make such an incredible pun with this. I'm like, Deep Nico 9. No, it doesn't. Deep Space Nico. No, that just makes me sound like an astronaut. There's no pun to be had here. But if you want to talk about formative seminal elements of my like foundational understanding of sci-fi, this is it. I can keep throwing adjectives and nouns at it, but this for me is the sci-fi that like changed everything, because even though I recognize that, Guinan works at the bar on TNG, it feels a lot more like a backstage cafeteria at a theme park than it feels like a bar. It always feels very we're on, but there's something romantic. There's something pre-Giuliani New York where the hookers say hi to you on the street about the world of Deep Space Nine season 1. It's so dirty. It's Madonna's Justify My Love, not Lenny Kravitz. It is seasons 1 through 3 of In Living Color before the weird Jim Carrey final season. It is so good. And I could not have a higher regard for Cisco, Odo, Jadzia Dax, Miles O'Brien, I guess, Julian Bashir, the fucking worst doctor on any goddamn Starfleet show ever. And
somehow the horniest, that's for sure.
Okay, but also the single greatest character to ever bless a bridge crew with her beauty, Kira Nerys. The most important thing to ever happen to Star Trek is all I'm saying. Oh no, Anson Mount's chest. Second most important thing to ever happen to Star Trek.
I really guess I didn't realize it was this significant for you. I know, like we've talked about it even. It's getting the rank is...
Oh, yeah, it's S+. I'm sorry. Did I not say this S+? This is S+.
Well, put it on up there then. This actually might be a B for me. I mean, it's okay. We're about to have the reverse situation. Especially this first crew. The next crew is going to get a bump up. The next Deep Space Nine crew is going to get a bump up. These guys, it sucks because Jadzia is like S tier for me, and Ezri is not. And counting the next crew means counting Ezri, which I hate. But the war-torn group... Oh, is it not okay to hate Ezri? There
is literally not a bad version of Dax. There is literally
there is. It's Ezri.
No, there is
Ezri
literally
Dax.
There's like 7 Dax, and there's not a single bad Dax.
Ezri is genuinely not terrible, but it's not Ezri's fault that Ezri comes after Jadzia. Like, Paige is a really, really, really great way to try and save the franchise after killing Prue, but she's still not Prue.
Yeah.
So, didn't matter what you did. Didn't matter how great she was. It wasn't Prue.
Oh,
Poor
and I'm
Esri really gives me Jennifer Goodwin after Once Upon a Time has no idea
Yes.
what to do with her, and they're like,
Yes.
just waddle around, pregnant lady.
All the time, always pregnant.
And I am also Kristen Wiig surprise lady can't use my hands level of excited about anything involving Renee Auberjonois. I just love him so much.
So this
His character
and
on
the
Archer.
fish preparing scene in
Okay, Le Poisson
Little
is one of
Mermaid.
the most perfect musical sequences of all time.
Of
But
course, you think that.
I have for years dined out on my ability to very loudly do Le Poisson. Also, no, though, for real, his best animated performance of all time is Archer season 1. That is the funniest.
Oh yeah, good call. That
funniest
is,
thing he ever
really
committed
good.
to film. Yeah,
Rest in peace, dude.
forever.
Actually, the funniest thing he's ever done is the last episode of this show where he reaches out Kira Nerys.
Yes.
But
I do, yeah, Ali Galactic, a lot of Quark love. Armin Shimmerman is amazing and truly love him.
I do love him. He looks very funny here, very amused. But again, Quark doesn't really kill it for me until his family shows up. Nog is why.
Nog!
That's why this is getting the lower grade. Worf also is going to contribute to the higher grade for the next crew. So anyway, B for me. Love them a lot, but the potential is about to skyrocket.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I just feel like Deep Space Nine was my Cats.
I was going to say, this is your
my
game changer.
Rents.
Yeah, this is, I totally hear you.
Like the first half is Cats and the second half is Rent. They're both S tier. They're both S plus. I can't even. I don't.
TNG
Cats.
Yeah, he has
okay. That's an example.
TNG was the flagship. It was bringing back the franchise, but this was the first time that Star Trek really did something new. This wasn't meant to be a flagship. It was meant to be something inventive, creative. It genuinely changed everything about 90s television, about Star Trek, about science fiction. Unbelievable.
Okay, so instead of having a ship, it has a space station that looks vaguely like a molecule floating in space.
Wait, are you explaining the concept of this show to us?
No, I'm just having an emotional reaction.
Wait, hold on. Before you do that, Kevo, that was such a passionate explanation, or description. What's your rank, though?
Probably also B.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a rough start.
Yeah. That's the thing that I find really interesting about doing this, because what you just said is true, and I feel that in my heart too. Like, it did really do something different, and that does count for something. I gotta say, like, it could go lower if it wasn't so important that it finally showed us what happens when a crew is on something that doesn't move. The way that this was where people like Ron D. Moore got their start. That I know.
Oh,
Nico,
you big baby, get out of here.
You are exactly that, a big baby. But again, this is why I love Tier Maker, because everybody's vote is getting bracket can be a little tough. We got to split, and we, as you said, we pick one and the rest have to go away. But for this, your S plus, I love your explanation for why, and I hope that enough other people come in throughout the next day to keep that up for you. It just isn't there for me.
Well, and this isn't even a judgment, and that's the thing. This isn't even a judgment of DS9 as a whole.
Right.
It's specifically saying, I don't think that it's much like the ranking with TNG. I don't think that where it started is necessarily as great as what it becomes. And I don't know necessarily in the current climate of television if a show like that would have been given the room to try and grow and become what it does become.
Wait, are you double checking if the show that is very clearly a metaphor for the Israeli-Palestinian conflict would have trouble making it today on television? Gwarsh, I agree.
Okay.
Yeah, S plus. The thing I want to say though that really matters to me more than anything about the end of DS9 that makes the end of DS9's edition, you Kevy.
He's practically a crewman.
I love Vic Fontaine so fucking much it's stupid. Excellent, excellent, excellent here, Kevo. The thing I want to say about End of DS9 is that End of DS9 would possibly be a garbage can fire. It would be the end of House of Cards if it weren't for Garrick and
Oh my god.
perhaps
Oh, I should have put Garrick.
Garrick is like one of the most beloved queer characters
Kind of.
in all of Star Trek. He is such a spectacular, one of a kind espionage agent. He is Julie Cooper with a gun. He is amazing, and
That is a
love
nonsense
him.
thing that you just said.
No, he is literally going to do the most obnoxious, loud, absurd thing, and it's somehow going to work out for him. But he's
I
going to
don't
do
think
it
that's
with
what
a
Julie
phaser.
Cooper does.
You don't think Julie Cooper is always the loudest person in the room?
No.
Who the hell? Okay.
I do love Julie Cooper with a gun, though.
Well, so anyway, I just think he is incredible. And the other character that I think is repulsive and really gets everything he deserves. But the show would not be what it was without Gul Dukat, the most horrible character. And it is certainly Kevo, don't even say her fucking name.
Well, no, I'm thinking about a meme I saw the other day. She was a Kai, he was a Gull. Could I make it any more obvious?
But so do you not like Garrick, TK?
It's problematic.
I like Garrick. Oh man, it's tough. This is the thing. Garrick is not physically sexy at all, and the writing for Garrick is written for a sexy person. I'm bothered. I am bothered that there are no
Ooh.
sexy Cardassians until the very diluted Cardassian president from Discovery.
I don't think the character of Lorne on Angel would be the same if Garrick hadn't come first, because Garrick is sort of an evolution of that queer. He's unhuman, but like he's more handsome. Lorne is more handsome than Garrick. He's less sexual, but still easier to sexualize.
Yes,
in a lot of ways.
Can I ask a question, Kevo? Can you explain what you mean by he's problematic? Because like at this point, I kind of feel like we might be able to say that like Goliath from Gargoyles is problematic for Celine Dion.
Just because of, if you're gonna shout about like the Israel parallels about the whole show, what is Garrick as a Cardassian war criminal?
Yep.
Oh, okay. And nobody laughed at my stiff person's disease comparing Celine Dion to Goliath. Got it.
No, we did. It was.
Well, I answered your question first.
Yeah.
What do you want? My answer or a laugh?
Yes.
Angela.
Angela is what you want.
That's Kevo. That's exactly it.
There is no making him happy.
We get to a point, and like we get to a point where the horrors of war and occupation are stacked so badly, and you are never gonna see, like, you see Jem'Hadar where they're like, we can't turn into monsters by treating these monsters like shit, but you never see an episode where they're like, this one Jem'Hadar, let's keep him hooked on the coke and like wean him off slowly, and he can come join the crew and marry one of the Ferengi. The Vorta, there's no coming back from it. Odo is really the only changeling that gets even a minor and the thing with the changelings is they keep them at arm's length because the aliens are so cool, you don't ever want to meet too many of them and be like, well, now I like them, but they are the ultimate genocideers of like the galaxy.
Wow, genocideers makes it sound so musical and like Gilbert and Sullivan-y, you know what I mean? Genocideers, easing your fears.
Well, thank you. I nailed it. You even have characters like Kai Wynn. Oh my god. Don't publish that. I'm going to need it for later.
If you're going to say it all lyrical like that, that's not my fault.
They even have characters like Kai Wynn where you're like, Bajorans are bad too. Like there are some real bad guys among the Bajorans, and I think really Garrick was meant to be like the conflict is complicated.
I don't know.
Where
I've never disagreed with a Bajoran.
For better or for worse,
including
Garrett,
Kai Wynn.
Kai Wynn's not a Bajoran. She's a pretender.
That's nonsense. Okay.
Head
Kevo,
cannon. Head cannon.
Where's your rank with this evolved DS9 crew?
I'll probably say S, thinking about it.
I love that for you.
What about you?
I'm gonna keep them at A. I want to put them above the old version. Really, yeah, Garrick is not great for me. Ezri, not great for me. I hate the evolution of the relationship between O'Brien and Bashir. There's no relationship I hate more than the male best friends who can't stop and tell each other they love each other and have to do it exclusively through just always making quips about how the other one sucks, even though they hang out all the time. But things like Nog, a lot of the participation that they ultimately have to do in the war, the evolution of Jake's character, Cisco's wild mental health crises throughout the entire show. That really elevates it. It's just they are not my S tier yet.
I get that. Oh, but I think we've got some. I think you're gonna be pretty excited to talk about this next one.
Take it away.
This is my first S. This is exactly what Nico said about Deep Space Nine. This was the game changer for me. This is where Star Trek locked in. They're gonna go. The versions of this crew will go higher in my ranking. But I don't know why for me. The what was going on in Deep Space Nine was not super exciting, but the idea that they were actually exploring where nobody else was, where nobody else could even conceive of what had happened to them, that we met the caretaker, that the Maquis crew had to fuse with the Voyager crew. At the time, I just thought Kess was really cool. The EMH was incredibly cool. Did I hate Neelix? Of course I hated Neelix. Is it weird that Janeway and Paris had sex as squid people, as lizard people, and made babies? Babies, I just said. Yes, absolutely unhinged and insane.
Weird thing. So what kind of reaction would you have?
Maybe the kind of insane that was formative to me as a person. So yeah, this first one, I think. Well, we have 3 for Voyager, right?
No, it's just the 2. It's the first half.
Okay, it's just the 2. Yeah, so this is going to be S. This will be S.
Kevo, how about you?
Well, I would love Ali Galactic to elaborate on. I can't rank Voyager fairly for sure. I think I might say A, because I feel like Voyager gets to a solid place of being Voyager faster than Deep Space Nine did. It wasn't really until Worf got added, which is like season 4 of DS9. So it really isn't the second half. But like, once they stop focusing too much on the contention between Starfleet and Maquis officers, and it starts being an actual crew, once they stop focusing as much on Neelix being a fucking creeper, I really, really, really enjoyed it, and I feel like it found its footing in that regard more easily and more swiftly than Deep Space Nine. Yeah, so what did I say? A or B? What about you, Nico?
You said A.
You know, I think I would give it an A as well. I think it's a really strong initial crew, but unfortunately, the whole point is they don't gel, and that just makes it a little tough to enjoy them as a crew when the whole thing is how not a crew they are.
No. Also, Janeway is the best Star Trek captain so far. I love her so much. She just the bearing of a queen, that Kate Mulgrew. Anyway, yep, they're S for me.
And the crew in question is Janeway, Chakotay, B'Elanna, Tom Paris, Kes, Neelix, the Doctor, Tuvok, and Harry Kim.
Yes.
Well, but then one name change and everything's different.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of is just her, but it's also a little bit like we lose like Seska, who I know is technically not bridge crew, but we lose a lot of the baggage carried over from the Alpha Quadrant in the second half of the show. We get things like the EMH being mobile, the relationship between Tom Paris and B'Elanna Torres. They really gel as a crew like nobody else. The impact that they have on the galaxy as a whole, the destruction of the transwarp conduits, what they do with the Hirogen, the Year of Hell. I mean, this is just such an incredible crew. This is my first S+. I love them so much. And, for as much as Kate Mulgrew really hated the press talking about her hair and Janeway's hair is so good all the time. It can be any style. Don't get me wrong. We shouldn't talk about it in a critical way. It can be whatever she wants. She could shave it if she wants. But Janeway, best hair in the game, and that's got to count for something. S+ all the way.
I think for me it's probably going to be S. I really do like the direction of the second half of the series more than the first. The Borg stuff started to get to be a little bit too much sometimes, but I liked what it brought us. I liked this series' take on Wesley Crusher through Icheb the most.
Yes.
He's my darling.
Yes.
So that was great. Naomi Wildman was a really fun character. Once I miss Kes, I do, but especially once we get rid of Kes and Neelix just sort of acts as like ship mascot and is just there to tell other people to calm down when they're getting too heady. That's a great use of Neelix. So that's really awesome. And yeah.
Ultimately, I think part of the problem is that Voyager felt a lot like they sort of tried to throw Cheers into space. What if a bunch of people who all just happen to be in the same location were in the same location? They have something in common, but they're all very different, but they're not. And that's kind of a part of it too. They're all very... in trying to tell us how everybody is Starfleet, everybody kind of comes off a little Starfleet. And then you get 7 of 9. And it's more Tom Paris and B'Elanna than it is B'Elanna is in love with Chakotay. And it's more Tuvok is the funny intellectual than he is the weird Vulcan man. Because frankly, you're in the Keenan and Kel quadrant. This is not all that anymore. And so it should be a little different than, Lori Beth Denberg's vital information is cutting edge. So I feel like it really takes 7 of 9's redirection of the show to push this to an S class for me. I think this is very S all the way. It might as well be Soyager.
It's an S. Oh, and then we fall. You know what? When you said you were removing the D category, I really probably should have fought you a little bit harder on that.
I wanted to give them the benefit of the doubt.
You're very kind.
What?
The show is awful, but the crew is
Okay.
Yeah, that's kind
Wow.
of where I was coming from
The
with it.
show is awful, but the crew is just bad.
This would be a
Not even bad. They're
fascinating.
okay.
This would be a fascinating one to pull, to get them all together at the age they are now, pull them at a time from, for Strange New Worlds or for Discovery.
I would recast and I would cast Logan Eccles as Archer.
Well, then you have to recast everybody.
Yeah, I'm saying I would do a recast, but I would use Jason Doring as Captain Archer, and I would just go full recast. But I think it is a cast that deserves it. And just because this cast is in that weird period of time. When you talk about the first season of Friends, the first season of Friends is continuity proof because it's like the last of the shows where you couldn't see every episode forever. This is the last of the shows before everybody on it was, getting HRT and BBL. This is the last of the shows of its kind before they were saying, no, Mary McCormick and Katie Sackhoff and what's left of James Edward Olmos. Names are hard today, and just names, it would seem.
You had it, James Edward almost.
Perfect joke. But no, this cast did not have the foresight, nor did the Stargate cast, to think maybe I'll be doing this in 30 years.
It's funny. They did, but they said a different thing. They thought, I'll be doing the convention circuit that the TOS guys are doing, which is such a different thing
Than today.
Exactly. It's funny because poor Jolene Blaylock, who is a good actor and I think does well and brings a lot of charisma to Paul, but they were essentially who is Jerry Ryan-esque? Put her in Jerry Ryan suits and make her do Jerry Ryan stuff so that horny nerds can masturbate all day. And
well, they weren't going to put her in fat suits.
And it's so funny compared to Dr. Phlox. These are our standards here. It's I do really like, though, to take it all the way back, Nico. This is a good crew in a bad show. Ultimately, they are my C. They are the reason the C category was left there, and I didn't say everybody's a B or above. I think
they're the reason that there isn't a D category, though, because they are still good enough that we said we can abolish the D category entirely. No one's going to scrape that low.
Precisely.
But I went with this image especially because I love that the three on top are the three who should be on top.
Yeah.
Because this is the Archer, Trip, and T'Pol show.
Yeah.
Although
Hiroshi really deserves that fourth spot that she never gets.
She is nowhere on this show. It is a disservice to her. I am shocked. There were times I forgot that Hiroshi and Mayweather were on the show. They would show up and I'd be like, who? The next level after the top three is Phlox and Reed, and I wish it wasn't. I wish Hiroshi got more focus than Malcolm Reed. I wish to God. No offense to him. But they exhaust the character so much that in the last season they have to be like, oops, secretly Section 31 or something this whole time. What? No. That you would rather do that than give Hiroshi a family to talk about. You'd rather do that than give Mayweather lines.
Well, I just did literally 90% of Phlox's dialogue in the background.
I'm horny and a doctor.
Yes, well. Yes, well.
Something having to do with food or sex.
Well. The Kevo, I actually I never do this to you, honey, because I think it's really ugly to call out a genius on air. But it's really ugly, fucked up, and repugnant that you left out one of the main characters from this show the
No.
show's chef, who is, of course, in the background of every episode, played by none other than the incredible Jonathan Frakes, who it is revealed to us in the series finale is just secretly in this particular holodeck version.
I thought you were going to say Jeffrey Combs, and I was going to have to wound you.
No, if I said Jeffrey Combs, I would deserve to be Jeffrey Combed. It is just, he is such a great actor, but you know when like
Enough is enough.
So Kevo and I are watching Point Pleasant, which was a Marty Noxon show from the mid-aughts that was very developmental for me as a person. And I'm really excited because they reached deep into the excellence of the history of the Fox primetime soap opera with incredible performances from, like, and I mean literally incredible performances from Richard Berge, Grant Show, Dina Mayer, but also there's a very flat performance from Adam Bush, whom I enjoy, but Adam Bush being on a Marty Noxon vehicle in 2005 is very, you kind of have to stop working with the same people because it is beginning to defeat the efficacy of the storytelling. When I hear sniveling, angry little shitty man dialogue coming from a Marty Noxon style character coming out of Adam Bush's mouth, I just sort of immediately roll my eyes at the character.
Because there's a reason he wasn't on Unreal.
Yeah. And that is how Jeffrey Combs, who is Wayun on DS9 and then a trillion characters throughout Enterprise, that is how Jeffrey Combs begins to feel to me. The subtle defeat of the ability to really take your language to the extremity is unfortunate for a writer like Marty Noxon and the writers of Star Trek.
I just realized Adam Bush being on Empire is him working with Danny Strong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
So anyway, this is my C as well. And you know what I will think to myself when I look at the men in the middle there, those four gentlemen in the middle? Yeah, seamen. Yep, those are definitely some seamen. Seamen.
Go watch the volleyball episode. That's all you really need. I just want to impress you, Dad. Oh, I miss doing my Trip Tucker impression.
I like that you want to impress me. Let's stand shirtless and look at each other's chest hair for a while.
Oh, T'Pol, I want to rub your feet. God, it got weird.
I will let you rub my feet, but only as part of a Vulcan psychic experience.
Jesus Christ. You know what? Now that we're talking about the Vulcan foot rubs, I can't hit C fast enough.
Okay,
hey,
the other C.
Good news. It's the other reason I invented the C button.
This is, I almost fought you for D. Because you know what? It is literally not a bad actor on this list.
But they're all doing bad acting.
Yeah.
You didn't even put this in the script. Oh, I guess because it's just the TOS cast again.
Oh, shut up. Wait, no. Cyborg, are you playing Remake right now?
It's the demo.
Game's
out the 22nd. Demo is out now. Do you want me to ship you my PlayStation 5 so you can play it?
30%. So I think that top to bottom, whether it's Zachary Quinto, who gave a vastly superior performance in So Notorious, or it's and I'm not even going to dig into the quality of her excellence, but Zoe Saldana, if you want the same kind of thing in terms of like a shared universe character, go catch some Gamora.
Yeah, 100%.
And if you want to see Chris Pine commanding the attention of the entire scene, go watch his nude scenes from that Netflix show he did where he came out of the water and showed peen. This is, of course, going to be the Kelvin crew, which is James Kirk, Spock, McCoy, Scott, Uhura, Sulu, Chekhov. It might be the sexiest crew by a significant volume, but it is unfortunately far from the most functional. I am truly disappointed to say that the Kelvin Timeline pushed me out of Star Trek for a good amount of time. And it took a lot of people shaking me by the shoulders and saying, Discovery is literally just a giant men.com video. Go watch it. For me to say, okay, sure. This doesn't have, you know what? No, I can say what it is. I understand that this was directed by J.J. Abrams, but outside of the lens flare, this might as well have been directed by McG. This has, for my reactive points, all of the emotional emphasis of a music video.
Yep.
Star Trek Into Darkness is specifically the hard part for me. I watched a really beautiful video about how Spock dying at the hands of Khan is representative of the psychological defeat of the illusion that Kirk has built for himself about actual indestructibility. And they show us the scene, and he actually doesn't scream. And the actual Khan scream is so much less hysterical than so many of the other screams Kirk has throughout the series that we map onto it. And Zachary Quinto gives a scream like he finally got to Troy Sivan at the bathhouse that just does not reflect the moment. And this for me is the other C, and I wish it was not, but this broke me as a fan.
Yeah, this is the other C for me. It sucks because actually the big three on the left are kind of the problem. It's not the best for any of them, and unfortunately, more than anything, with the exception of Chris Pine, it really feels like they don't want to be there. I love Zoe Saldana. I can see that she's trying to do something. It's not that that she doesn't want to be there feels disrespectful, but it feels like it's just not coming together. There is no romantic chemistry between Uhura and Spock, and that's okay. But then it's just like, because they want it to be a thing so that they can be like, in the other universe, it was Uhura and Kirk, but things are different because this is happening. They emphasize it too much. None of them knows what to do each other. Ali Galactic, Carl Urban's Bones is
all
great.
That is literally the best part. It is Dev Patel's Zuko from The Last Airbender levels of, okay, there is one great thing in this franchise.
I wish Carl Urban's Bones was season 13 of the TV show. That is how good it is.
Yep. But then, John Cho's Sulu is phenomenal. Anton Yelchin's Chekhov is fantastic.
Right. I've never realized it before, but Anton Yelchin with that hair, you can really see where he has a lot of the same youthful facial structure as Nolan Gould. You can really see where he has that sort of like fun, boyish energy that I think made Chekhov seem like a different age group than even Pine, who we recognize as sort of a younger actor than perhaps we think of Shatner. So like, that is one thing I just want to say, that we came at, TOS as kids born in 85, 86, thinking of Shatner as an old man then. So, because that's the Rescue 911 guy. So then, by the time this comes along, we think of Chris Pine as sort of like our same age group. So we are interacting with this as equals, where we interacted with TOS as sort of subordinates. So I do think some of our grading is about the differential we see in interacting with these iterations.
Yep. But yeah, this crew's adventures are weird. The fact that we do the reverse for Into Darkness, it doesn't work. The third one didn't work at all. Anyway,
we never even went back for the third one. I really love and appreciate it as a branching timeline. I love that Disco Season 3 had a reference to this in a tangential, like, Easter egg sort of way. I like that this exists as a branch, like the Mirror Universe exists. Like, like all like it is a multiverse in that regard, and I think that's cool. But this is not the main timeline. This is not what I. It's weird that they're doing a prequel in this timeline, unless it's going to do something to intersect with all the current stuff. Because I don't know who was clamoring for something like that. But yeah, it's just weird.
Yep.
So I am definitely also going to say C.
All C all the time.
See ya.
Okay, so here's the thing about Discovery. Kevo, did you ultimately keep it split in 3?
Yes. Well, Kevo didn't do it. I did it. And yes, it's 3.
Okay.
There we go.
It's hard because I think I want to keep all 3 of them at the same excellent grade, because I don't think there's like a bad version of Discovery. I think if there is anything, there is a bad container for Discovery, which is sometimes the trying to make a basic television show into a streaming show formatting problem for early Discovery. The actual problem here is when you look in his eyes, you can just tell that Lorca does weird sexual stuff to women and you can't dig it.
So you should have
Which
known right
ultimately
away.
ends up true because he's from the mirror universe.
So you should have known.
So we are, of course, talking about Michael Burnham, the fucking coolest person to ever wear a Starfleet badge. Saru, and this is the first season, so it's Ash Tyler / Vok, everybody's favorite character from Dark
Nobody
Phoenix.
needed Ash Ketchum in the mix.
Paul Stamets, who, the fact that he has never introduced an episode with something like 2736 Stardate time PM Eastern Standard Time.
Every single time someone makes that joke, I have to remind them, yes, this cast did a Rent parody and Anthony Rapp led it. So your joke happened in reality.
No, my point is that there is no episode that is the case for. So
Because
my joke is still, well, then there shouldn't have been a musical episode of Strange New Worlds or a crossover with Lower Decks if they didn't want me to think that they could make out of universe third-party jokes. But it's cool.
Rent exists in this universe, so
anyway, my terrible joke that can't exist aside, I really feel like this is a great cast. And one of the things I love about them is that they really do represent different personality types. I give this a hard S. How about you guys?
This is A for me. There's too much. It's not actually the person. That's not actually Lorca. That's not actually. Philippa dies.
So
very
the
early
one you
on.
get is not the actual Philippa. Yeah, exactly.
That's not actually Ash. Everything's still coming together. Michael's like not supposed to be there, and the whole show just constantly being like, "You're on thin ice, girl." It probably has to happen this way for the rest of the show to be as good as I think it is. But there are a lot of times in the first season where I'm just like, it sort of sounds like everyone is saying we should just throw in the towel on this whole Discovery thing and all go on to other ships. Tilly has to be super annoying to later be charming. Yeah, all around of their incarnations, this ultimately is, and I don't think they're using Saru enough. Ultimately, this is A, and we're going to go up each incarnation, I think, for me.
But I mean, so what are you ranking this?
This is A.
A?
Yeah.
I think I might even go as low as B for a lot of the reasons that you're saying.
Really fair.
I like Tilly a lot more in season 1. I'm actually rewatching right now in the lead up to season 5 and in the lead up to inevitably our coverage of it, so it'll be fresh in my brain. And so I'm in season 2 right now. The hardest part of season 1 for me is always the fact that they speak Klingon the entire time, and I can't keep looking up for subtitles.
Yes.
It's like watching a really
so dramatically too.
It's like watching a really aggressive version of Amelie. You just have to keep your eyes locked on the subtitles.
Have you guys ever watched Amelie with commentary on?
No.
Okay.
I don't remember the last time I watched Amelie.
Story for another day. It's great.
So I just put on audio description though, because then they read the subtitles to you, and then they're also like, "This is this character," in case you weren't paying attention, which is super helpful. But yeah, that's not Lorca. That's probably meant to be Giorgio, but then we don't end up getting Giorgio. We end up getting the Emperor. And I like where everything shakes out, and I really feel like everything about it is structured super well. But again, that's the story in the episodes more than it is the crew. And so for me, I think I'm going to go with the B for this.
Big respect, Kevo.
So then there's Disco 2.
Yep. For me,
which is actual people who they're supposed to be.
For me, yeah, exactly. That's a big part of it. This is S. I love Emperor Giorgio. I loved the conflict that she introduces, and yeah, with everything out in the open, it's a lot easier to swallow. Captain Pike being the captain is, I don't know, man. It's just fun. There's something about the fact that timeline-wise that this does not last. The finiteness of it, and the fact that that he's going to both go on to be on the Enterprise, but then also his ultimate fate too. The Spock storyline, man, I do really like it. Ethan Peck is a better Spock than maybe anyone. I was about to say than Zachary Quinto for sure, but God, like, for my money, maybe Leonard Nimoy even. My Jewish grandfather of low emotions. I love you so much. You're William Bell, but maybe.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny because he has a famous grandfather too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, and we both went to NYU. The it all stacks up. Yeah, this is S for me, and I really do love this group so much.
Yeah, I mean, Super S, like a Sailor Moon season. This is just such a great season of characters. And one of the things that I really appreciated is that if my problem with a lot of Discovery season 1 was me going, absolutely not. No, this didn't happen and we don't know about it. At least they knew that at the end of season 2, they were going to have to Rosencanny themselves out of the situation anyway. So they said, go for it. Floor it. And they went really balls to the wall as demonstrated by, I guess, their Fozzie Bear. And they got themselves a really exciting second season. So S.
Love it. Kevo, it's your turn.
Yeah, probably also S. I think that a lot of it really came together really cool. I think that it was really interesting to show us these legacy characters and not be afraid to give us these new stories. While still clearly, and again, as I'm rewatching season 2, it feels like in many ways they knew where they were going to end the story up. And so it feels almost like they were purposely being as bold and audacious with their storylines as possible, knowing they were just going to ship these people off to the future and have everything be redacted. And that sort of, it's funny. One of the things that prepared me in many ways for this level of retcon is being such a fan of Once Upon a Time, where you get to a certain point in the series where they introduce something new that couldn't have possibly happened, and you're like, it's just going to be a memory potion. Somebody took a memory potion or was dosed, and now they don't remember, and that's why this thing happened in the past, and it's fine. It's soapy, it's campy. Watching TOS, you can't tell me it's any more well-structured by any means. I should plug my microphone.
Well, then I'm going to talk while you're doing that. But I think one of the things that makes this such a strong cast is that they don't work to have Pike overtake Burnham on the show.
Yeah.
They work really hard to have Pike recognize that even though he is given this senior position, he is not the main character of this story. And I think that's even where fandom was eager to reward him with Strange New Worlds, which was only a result of like strong fan reaction begging for them to make the show. So that's an example of where a cast was so strong, it kind of like forged a show into being.
Yeah, which is very cool.
So you're
All right.
S2, Kevo, huh?
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. Well, then that brings us to Discovery Season 3 and 4's cast, which is essentially the same, except does Philippa bop out during 4 or 3?
4. No, 3. Sorry.
3, but late 3.
Yeah.
This is number one, the best Michael Burnham's hair looks. I love those crazy extensions on her. Yes, mama. I think it is unbelievable. Whatever. Let's go with fitness and chemical regime keeps Wilson Cruz looking like an aforementioned American gladiator, but it also keeps, by comparison, Anthony Rapp looking like weak milk. But I love both of them. They are both two very different, delicious kinds of handsome gay men. The thing, though, that I most think this season or season set deserves a little bit more recognition for is, number one, having a relatively dark-skinned black man in the cast is something that not enough versions of Star Trek do, even though it is clearly not something Star Trek is afraid to do, having had black cast members all the way back to the original. It's nice to see here. But also, if we can get some thick mama representation from Tilly, yes! I'm not here to talk about her body, but I'm here to say whatever she chooses her body to be is beautiful. And I love that it does not seem like the creators of Discovery have any disagreement about that. And so here's to Tilly deciding what Tilly looks like. And it is amazing.
100% agree with everything you're saying. And to pick up on it, this is where if you want to complain about Discovery, I'll say it happily. This is where Star Trek really goes woke in, to me, the best possible way. It's things like, Nico, you mentioned Michael Burnham's hair. The fact that Michael Burnham is wearing that particular hairstyle, which is something that black women are often told is unprofessional and they cannot wear, when she becomes captain.
Why? Because it's too pretty? Because it's too pretty and you're nervous? Is it too pretty?
No, but I get you. The fact that when she becomes captain.
Yeah, exactly. She's got that. I mean, it was so massive for black women.
Important.
In the same way that seeing Stacey Abrams as the leader of United Earth. I mean, these are just great things. They may seem a little silly to you, but it's the thing that I always say. If you got through every Marvel movie and got through to Endgame and thought that the all women helping each other scene was hacky and silly and stupid, and never had that to say about every time the men do it, including 20 minutes earlier in the movie when it's Steve Rogers, Thor, and Iron Man, you're the worst. So
you are literally
this,
the worst.
This does that a bunch. Why can't I think of their name? The crew member
Adira.
They take on, Adira and
Adira Tall, yeah, and Gray.
Their Trill boyfriend, Gray. Yes,
whatever.
That they have a lot of those conversations about their gender identities and how those mix in with the alien stuff. So it's not just one thing or the other. That we get a fully realized Georgiou who wrestles with that, the fact that she has really done great evil, and that there's she's gone well beyond the point of no return. And how can she be a person who loves? I don't know. It's so fascinating. But the ship, and I'm blanking on every. It's Zora.
Oh yeah, Zora. Oh
Zora,
my
thank
god.
you.
Oh my
Zora
god.
is
yes.
actually why this is S+ for me. Machines and entities coming to life. I mean, this is why the Voyager was S+ for me too. With the EMH coming to life, machines coming to life for me is like I'll cry every damn time. And the ship singing Stormy Weather to Michael Burnham as they all might die, and she's just telling her that she's scared. She is one of the greatest crew members in the history of Star Trek. Every time she speaks, I get choked up. The fact that she sang to Michael Burnham, I wept like a child. This is S+ for me. This is such a phenomenal crew. I love all of them so much. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
I also just want to give really big shout out to Tig Notaro playing Janet Reno.
Yes. Oh my
I'm convinced she's a
God.
Q, but that's my headcanon fan theory.
I know her name is Jet
Love that.
Reno, but in this world, having a very non-gender conforming person playing a person whose name is basically Janet Reno, you can fuck yourself.
Well, Jet comes from Joan Jett, so we're gonna say that Reno comes from Janet Reno because why not?
And does Reno
yeah,
come
we
from a
just-
Final Fantasy VII character? Because we can dream.
We just
Comes from
can't
a wild
stop.
weekend her parents had in Reno.
We can't stop naming people at this point of Discovery that we love, which I think, yeah, definitely is certainly another S+. It's mostly story stuff at this point. Like I loved season 4. I loved season 3 until the resolution. But again, that story stuff that has nothing to do with the crew or how they handled it, which was amazing. That moment of Michael coming out of the computer mainframe.
Yes.
Oh, so good. And I'm really excited that we have entered this era of Trek as well. I really hope this is where they decide to settle Starfleet. Oh my god, don't forget about the best character on the show, Grudge.
Yep.
Queen. She is
Yep.
a queen, and we should all be flogged. Thank you. Thank you, Mark, for reminding
100%.
us. Perfect. Yeah, so I really hope that the Starfleet show is set in this era. I really hope we get more from this era because it is very cool.
All right. Well, oh damn, we went with S+ on the average. All right. So the first 2 seasons of Picard, B. I really find Jean-Luc Picard sexy. I really like Jim from Newsroom's girlfriend, and I'll tell you why. Jurati Borg is one of my favorite things because
Nico,
Allison-
you put down 3 for this, so this is 1, 2,
I think
and 3.
I put in a third. I think that was
Yeah.
my B.
Yeah,
okay,
so
this is season 1,
So
season
Jurati
1?
will
All
be
right.
in a different
yeah,
one.
so Jurati is not Borg Jurati yet.
So she's just Jurati.
Yes.
She's
okay.
Traitor Jurati.
Oh, well, then it's still an S. And here's the thing. I think
Really?
that Agnes Jurati is... Well, no. Let me say it again. The show is a B. And this cast is a B. Agnes Jurati is there aren't enough pluses. And I want to say that I think it's because I think Alison Pill crafted a performance that would have worked on Friends, that would have worked on Dick Van Dyke Show, and would have worked on Ryan's Hope. I think Alison Pill's Agnes Jurati has more humanity in a single frame than whole tribute performances to Weekend at Bernie's could hope to muster. That's just being silly. I think that Michelle Hurd's Rafi is one of the greatest gifts to the Star Trek universe. Chris Rios is one of the hottest men I've ever seen. This is a B, and I'm being generous because I feel really bad coming at such a great cast. This is terrible, though. B.
What for you specifically is terrible?
Okay. It's why Young Frankenstein the musical didn't work. You can't tell me that a cool idea full of famous people is suddenly fascinating because you had it. It needs to be an idea that has the ability to execute. This is shades of a cool idea. This is a cool
Yes.
2-part, 3-hour miniseries. But this 13 hours of my life and 9 months off of Patrick Stewart's older age, this was not.
Yeah.
I feel two things about Picard seasons 1 and 2. One, I feel like they are both like the TNG movies that never got to get made, decompressed out into full seasons, which don't work. And I feel like I love what you said about its shades of good ideas. I feel like so much about Picard season 1, especially more than 2, was a lot of good ideas that just really missed the exact right mark on all of it. I loved the idea of the android attack on Mars and the point of origin on it, but then like it goes too far with a Romulan sleeper spy agent became the head of Starfleet. What? I love Jurati, and then making her a betrayer sucks. Everything with the Borg that they bring back and then kill almost immediately is gut-wrenching for no reason whatsoever and ruins potential future appearances of characters. It's like they had really great ideas and then just either took it too far or went in the wrong direction with so many things.
The pitch of this show is like, seriously, hyping sex up your entire life and then finally having it and going, that was bad and I regret it. It
was Lane Kim's first time where she said, I'm never having sex again, and she got pregnant.
Yup, which I cannot believe Amy Sherman Palladino is at this point literally publicly apologizing to Helen Pei and saying that she is willing to do an entire additional season of Gilmore Girls so that Lane Kim can be treated with respect. Amy Sherman Palladino, you made some weird Mrs. Maisel choices, but if you want to bring back Gilmore Girls, I will follow you. I will follow you into Jezebel James. TK, I feel like this was one we had to kind of like, poke the bear at you.
Beg.
No, because like you had started it and then walked away from it. Oh no, that was Discovery. Okay, so what is your relationship with Picard?
I was stupidly all in. You actually settled me down a little bit, and I did vote B, because I was like, no, this can't be right. This is so good, but you are actually correct. It's not so good, and I was kind of forgetting all the things I didn't love. I really don't love 7 not being in Starfleet. It's not that everybody has to be Starfleet, but it just kind of didn't fit the idea that, the biggest thing for me, it has nothing to do with this crew, but it has everything to do with this show and so this crew. Janeway would never let that happen. Janeway would have never let 7 fall to a place. Admiral Janeway would never have let 7 fall to a place where she just left Starfleet. And the fact that they immediately reverse it kind of also kills this season. I don't like Elroy. He's not cute. The fact that they kill him immediately sort of proves that he's not cute. I don't like Spurge and Doge and all the Data girls. I'm very confused there.
I like Soji, but weird and underutilized and weirdly
I do. Yes, I do like them. Exactly. But I don't like where they end up on the show.
Where is she? Who is she? What is she doing? What's going on? I couldn't tell you.
Right, exactly. And the fact that what it seems like you're about to give us is the evolution of Data, and instead you just kind of give us question mark, and then it never comes up again.
Some girl.
It's just some girl. None of it really. This is not the version of the crew. Who even is that in the front?
That's the Romulan who is
you said
seducing
Romulan.
Soji.
I checked out.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Why is he in the center?
Right?
And do you know why he's in the center? I think because he looks just like Ethan Peck playing Spock.
Right.
Literally concurrently.
We confused you.
Season.
We confused you into watching our show. Yeah. So yeah, B, you are absolutely right about that. And I actually appreciate you going first in that one.
I'm thinking about C.
I respect you.
I think we averaged a B though, so I think
I can't ever let something Jean-Luc touched go down to C, but I feel what you're saying 100%.
Nah, he was in X-Men 3. You just
Fair. But yeah.
This one I felt, because Elnor is gotten rid of so unceremoniously, because Soji is gotten rid of, because Jurati goes in a weird direction, Q being here too, everything about this one felt like such a dramatic departure from one, which is part of why I felt the need to sneak it in.
Yeah, no, you're right.
You are really right. I just want to be clear that, like, if I am describing my perfect woman ever, 2 of the 5 of them are Nelly Furtado and Michelle Hurd. I just think Michelle Hurd might be one of the finest actresses of her generation to never get respect, to never get her due. She has been part of so many franchises, whether it's things like the Wolfverse with Law and Order, or it's her stunning turn with Garrett Hedlund in the Showtime classic Leap Years, which used Talking Heads Once in a Lifetime as the theme song, which is the only reason I watched it. And then, she was in Daredevil, right? I think this is so many talented people doing something I hate. This is the cast of Avengers doing Speed the Plow. I hate this. But the cast is so good, it's repulsive. So I have to give this a better score than season 1. This for me is an A, but it could have been an S with a little bit of sequence editing. But this is one of the finest casts I've ever seen pulled together. And it's just such a shame that this didn't turn out something made of gold.
Yep. I completely agree. I think I liked the direction maybe a little bit more than you did. I ultimately it was a mess, but again, it's the reparation of little things, like the fact that they kill Elroy. I mean, I know it's kind of fridging for. I'm not going to use his real name. I know that it's kind of fridging for Michelle Hurd's character growth, but like I don't care because that character sucks.
I find that funny, though. I kind of love the idea that they took this male warrior and fridged him.
Let's fridge the shit out of that kid.
Woman's character.
And it does a bunch for her. You know, we've got Seven back in Starfleet. The turn that Jurati takes in this season, I love. I do not love that we basically never hear anything from it again. That's a show.
My dream is it's that whole like they're doing that whole "what's in the box" thing for which, by the way, that is my sister's impression of the end of 7. Yeah. I'm hoping that is the "what's in the box" in Discovery. It's Jurati.
That'd be interesting. I like to frame that as I'd like to see more, and I'm sad we haven't yet, because it's not like we've gotten a ton. Yeah. And we even do get a line from Daddy Shaw being like, I'm not talking about what happened on the Stargazer. Like, they acknowledged that happened in Picard 3. So that was great. But yes, I really, even if it's not through Allison Hill, desperately want to see something more from what this means for the future. And potential relations with and integration with the Borg. Because at the end of the day, the lesson from Starfleet is always you should be trying to make a friend of your enemy.
And I loved the crew. I loved who's around. I love that Q was there.
Guinan, yeah.
Yep, that Guinan was there. And, I kind of count these people as the crew when we're talking about it. It's not just the cast, but like that. What's a bummer is that Q, it never makes any sense why he was there. I was kind of hoping for a really solid reveal at the end where he's like, the continuum is a finite infinite. Like we are kind of on our infinite end shutting down. And this is my last.
Yeah, that's what he says.
Yeah, kind of, but it's
like when Apple ended user service for the iTunes app. It was just
right. I mean, yes, that's a brilliant. Yeah, you could say it all you want, but when nothing happens and we don't recognize that change in any way, then it kind of didn't happen. But I did love that he was there. Like, I love that so much of this is tying up Picard's big moments in life. So anyway, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. No, just, same. Definitely also A. There's weird stuff in this too, though. The mom stuff is weird.
Maman.
And the Laris stuff is weird as we go now into Picard 3 and the fact that Laris is just waiting on the rings of Saturn for her boyfriend to show up. Bye, Laris.
Okay, but this gives us next gen plus a cool Geordie daughter who's basically what if Veronica Mars was cool and sciencey and black? Yes. This gives us Michelle Hurd and it gives us 7 of 9 on the bridge. This gives me a cute Twinkie-ish daddy sub crusher Picard. S+. This made me gayer. Oh, and Shaw is the hottest thing. Shaw is so hot. Shaw is
Oh, you did put
deformably
Shaw.
hot.
Yay.
So, this cast, S+. So good.
I still think it's an S for me. I love them a ton. Not a game changer. I love that Shaw is like, not more shenanigans. But I sort of don't love how there isn't a point until the very end where like Picard is essentially like tons of shenanigans. And I don't apologize for it. The fact that we spend so much time with Picard being like, I swear I didn't mean to do shenanigans, is kind of just like, I really wanted to spend more time being like, hey man, when you get to be the age where one time you were driving through space and a face just showed up and yelled at you guys for a while, you understand that life is doing the shenanigans and you're just along for the ride. That I will never not reference that episode of Star Trek. I think it is the most important thing that's happened in Star Trek lore. I think we should be talking about it on every Star Trek show every time. The fact that we don't, criminal, you've all done it wrong. If that's not the last season of Discovery's main arc, huge mistake. Anyway, I love that we get our original crew back. Marina Sirtis looking phenomenal.
And the Diamonds.
Spiner is there. Marina Sirtis and the Diamonds would be a phenomenal mashup act.
Drag band.
Yes, sold. Worf being just like an ancient warrior handler person. It's all good.
My favorite part of rewatching my favorite part of rewatching season 3 as we went into covering the season 3 finale was as you're reading his emails to Rafi once you know that it's Worf. Yup. They really put a lot of thought into making sure it was in Worf's voice.
Yeah. I truly hate that kid. That's not correct. That is a 40-year-old, very studly man. And they're like, they're like, you're only 20. You don't know how the world works. And he's like, I have grown children of my own.
Put him on a
If
leash.
that is the result of a septuagenarian pregnancy, then sure.
Yeah, you're going to have to give me some deep telomere research on Star Trek for me to buy that. I would take it, but...
Handsome, good actor.
So hot, great actor. Had they
40.
changed the timeline and been like, we fucked in season 2, and then I shipped that kid off because I'm a hot mess, I fuck ghosts. What do you think I can raise a child? I clearly cannot do that.
There are
but
ways in which Pulaski is a superior doctor, guys. I don't know what to tell you.
Oh my god, that's where she went in season 2. Oh my god, something like that.
I only want to add that one of the things that makes this season so tough is that it was treated like a swan song. And when you do a swan song, you have whole different sets of rules. You don't need to behave as though you are hoping that these characters are going to be able to iterate in the same way tomorrow. It's something that I'd never considered before when I was watching Tournament of Champions with regular series contributor Jonah. I said to myself, watching a chef mercilessly destroy their food station, wow, okay, they're not being judged on their ability to function in an existing kitchen because they have permission to destroy the food, destroy the food prep location. They can make a mess. And that's sort of what Picard season 3 was allowed to do. It was allowed to make a mess. Yep. Nobody had to cook on this stove after them, and they behaved that way.
Yeah.
Which is funny because now they're talking about 4th season /movie/legacy. And that may be, I mean, you might have really pinpointed what is the glorious problem with this show, but thankfully we're not talking about the show, we're talking about the crew. And yeah, I mean, like, even having this crew here kind of speaks to exactly that idea.
All right, so I said S+, but I've clearly been given
I did S. I did S.
Kevo, how about you, sweetie?
I think I am also going to say S, because it's like a lot of what you're saying about, I don't know that this crew stood the test of longevity, which, in thinking about it and looking at my previous rankings as well, I think that's part of what the S+ is for me. It's what knocked Disco season 2 down from being too high because we knew it had to be limited. This was such a limited thing. And I think until we know if we will ever be seeing more of the bulk of this configuration doing anything but this one adventure, I'm going to have to keep him at S.
Well, I don't want to sound like a dummy, but there's a certain comedy formula. There is a 4-man system that you can see in things like The Honeymooners, I Love Lucy. You can see it even in things like Three's Company with the main 3 and Mr. Roper. You can see.
Are you not going to name your favorite ever?
I'm getting to it. I was going chronologically.
Okay.
You can see it in Golden Girls. You can see it in Designing Women. You can see it in, frankly, I think I'm never going to back down from this. The most exaggerated, best version of it ever is Will and Grace. Ever. The extremity to which these 4 represent those tropes is to the point at which it deforms character and makes them horrible people for 8 years. These 4, Beckett Mariner, Brad Boimler, Devon Attendee, and Sam Rutherford, so represent the most perfect boundaries of the sitcom foursome. I mean, yeah, for me, the whole show is Mariner and everything else is just sort of like shrug. But this is such, I don't know, it's a Star Trek that could be a Shakespeare. This is S+ outside of Star Trek. I think maybe if we had to judge this as a Star Trek, I would have to give it a lower grade. But this foursome as a cast, mama, it's S++. Plusity plus. Add one more plus.
But as a Star Trek crew, is that still S+ for you?
Oh yeah, I'm sticking with my grade. I know what I said. I went on a monologue.
All right. I just, at the end of that monologue, you were like, I think if I had to judge them as a Star Trek crew, it would be lower.
Right, but I'm judging them as a crew, and I'm I'm giving myself the freedom.
S+, you said it. Go on, Kevo.
I was discussing Star Trek and Starfleet earlier today with show contributor Tori Sheehan, and She was expressing the dismay of Starfleet being paramilitary because, ACAB, and that's fair. But so I shared with her the clip
cop
of...
at birth.
Yes, I shared with her the clip of Bradward Boimler going off at the career fair over the shit that Starfleet sometimes gets for, being kind of military, but also, we would much rather be studying quasars. But sometimes some people have to fight the Borg because you people can't save yourselves. And she was like, okay, this was awesome. And I'm like, because Lower Decks is truly possibly the best Trek. I am very shocked that Ali Galactic has never watched Lower Decks.
Ali, I would never say turn us off, but if there were ever a time to, go watch Lower Decks right now.
I think the advice is, as soon as we're done here, what you need to do is turn on the first episode of Lower Decks.
And just don't move until you finished it.
Yes, kind of. You could watch the entire thing straight through. It is truly amazing for what it is in terms of a sitcom cartoon. It is truly amazing for what it is in terms of a Star Trek show. It is canon, it is hysterical, it is amazing, it is full of heart, and they really work hard to give us a crew that can embody that. And I really hope that they are able to continue that as the show goes on. I know that it, can get tough. You don't want characters to be too perfect, but Mark says 10,000% S plus 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 plus.
Oh, that's peak Jonah.
Peak Jonah. It's the blue circle. It has the same circle as Mark. So yes, this was part of how we got Jonah in Star Trek, because it is. And here's the thing: I can't watch cartoons unless I have nostalgia for them. If you have nostalgia for Star Trek, every single episode of this show is dozens of Easter eggs to every single piece of Star Trek that has come before it, in the most loving and earnest way possible.
And the cartooniness is not cartoony. It's tough. Like it's not a Saturday morning kids cartoon, put it that way.
Yeah.
The way Family Guy is just really like, what if Seth MacFarlane did all of his characters as stand-up, but also had a few people that when he wanted to point to them could jump in?
Right.
Sort of like, what if Star Trek had its own stand-up and it could occasionally point to other jokes just in case?
Right. And what if you wanted to tell a really good Star Trek joke or story, but that budget would be insane, and you've got, but you want to show it. This is the way to do it. To me, that's why this is S plus. I was saying earlier, like Liam Shaw is like, you guys do too many hijinks, and nobody ever really. They kind of acknowledge it. They're all like, oh, we got to be on our best behavior so that we can save the world. You guys do too many hijinks, and the following humor of that and being like, shoot, we just did a hijink. Oh no, we're in shenanigans. That is like the type of stuff that happens on Lower Decks all the time, that the joke is there, and like we can't have done 30, 40, 50 years of these shows where so much absurd stuff happens and nobody's allowed to acknowledge it because like, then what are we going to do if we're all laughing? But like Darmok and Jalad Tanagra is funny, and like we have to laugh a little bit.
It's a silly world that we live in, and we acknowledge that. So Star Trek should be able to acknowledge it too. Exactly.
Silly world that we live in.
Even the newer shows, like we're going to talk about Strange New Worlds. Strange New Worlds has gotten the closest of all of the live action ones, but really, this is the show, and it has work to do because Star Trek has taken itself a little too seriously for decades, and there's decades of backlog of stuff to make jokes about. That they do it, and it's funny basically every time while still having so much heart. Nico, you said earlier that for you this is all about Mariner. If you said that to Mariner, she would go, no, this is my crew.
Ew, no, what are you talking about?
You have to love them too.
Have you been watching the show? Oh my God.
That's like something that's like for my mom or something.
They love each other. So the way that she loves Boimler, just everything about it.
I just want to interact with, I love me some Seth Trek. But this is uniquely Star Trek in a way that the Orville is
Yes.
not.
Yeah.
This
The
is not a
Orville,
parody of Star Trek. This is
Right.
a Star Trek show that is a comedy that is able to poke fun at Star Trek, but it is not a parody. It is a true Star Trek show.
So I just, this for me is very, very S, if not S plus. The other thing that this show has going for it that I think so few Star Treks can have is it can lean into the silliness of the aliens being a little unexpressible.
Yeah.
In a way that I don't know, it strengthens the argument. It makes the
Yes.
argument a little bit funnier because Freeman reacting to an actual slug crawling down her hallways is a little bit different than Picard reacting to a slug crawling down his hallway in CGI they will add later. It's just a very different experience.
I feel that creator Mike Minkohan his intention is very much for this to be accessible to everyone. This is meant for like dads to be able to try and get their kids into Star Trek. This is for kids to discover Star Trek on their own. It's trying to court the Rick and Morty audience while not being Rick and Morty, because it doesn't get to that level of crude or ridiculous or any amount of adult. While what?
I was just being silly.
Oh, okay. I thought you had something. Maybe.
No, I said ridiculous.
But yeah, it's silly. It's fun. It's meant to be something you can watch with your family while also still being something that you're not embarrassed to watch on your own. You okay up there, big man?
I'm embarrassed to watch my show on my own. No, the other thing that Lower Decks offers is it is certainly not the first attempt to put Star Trek in animation, but whereas Star Trek the Animated Series is often derided as a Saturday morning version of the original series, this is seen as such a legitimate element of the Star Trek universe that they wrote it into Strange New Worlds, my absolute favorite Star Trek show ever made. So it is just such a magical thing that something like Lower Decks can have such gravity and such gravitas that the other factions of the Star Trek universe react in such a positive way. It really speaks to the quality of this cast, this crew, and maybe the fact that number one, Una Chin Riley is a little bit married to Jack Ransom. So,
But before we actually finish addressing that, we've got an interloper to discuss.
Yeah, Prodigy gets a B. Prodigy's fine. It's not bad. It's not good. Doll, Gwyndala, Rock Talk, Zero, Murph, Dreadnought, Diviner, they're fine. Janeway's great. Jankum Pog is it's like in your lifetime, few characters will be as cool, as funny, as you want to hook up with an adult human version of him at a bar. Jankum Pog is the coolest fucking character ever. Jason Matsukis is Jankum Pog is he is literally his character from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I think he is brilliant and funny. If it were not for him, I would give this show a C. But I think Jankum Pog is an S plus character in a C world, so the show gets a B.
I'm gonna give it a B too. I don't know where we're going with this one. The fact that it's staying on or going to Netflix.
Going to Netflix.
Going
yeah.
to Netflix.
And Netflix is now proudly carrying the first season. They hyped it up right around Christmas. That's great.
That's got a lot of like behind the scenes, not in a bad way, but like stuff that I'm really wondering about. For me, this does for kids who might want to get into Star Trek what Lower Decks does for people who love to laugh and want to get into Star Trek. It just isn't quite that. It is not like, it's not, Avatar The Last Airbender where any kid can watch it and love it, but if you are 30, you will also love it and watch it and love it.
Yeah, there
This
is not an
is
agelessness to Prodigy at all.
no that. Thank you. One word.
I
is
feel
all
like
that I would-
it's trying too hard to copy what Star Wars The Clone Wars did while not
Yeah.
fully getting what Star Wars
Nailed
The
it.
Clone Wars was
Yeah.
or what it did.
But it's not bad. It's not a total flop.
Man, I love Jenkum Pog. Maybe I just love Jason Matsoukas. I think
you do just in fact love Jason Mantzoukas, and that is okay. He is super hot. He
Swarthy
is very
Greek
Greek.
Yeah,
Your parents would be
Yeah.
so pleased.
Anybody who ever wondered where my actual name comes from, I'm a good Greek boy. That's where the Nico comes from. I'm very proud of my Spanish heritage, which is also there. But I was raised a good Greek boy, and I was raised on thinking that those curls. Ha. So Jenkum Pog gets a little bit of the Greek love, but I also want to say part of what Jenkum Pog offers us an opportunity to look at is a re-examination of the identity of the masculine role in alien cultures. Something that we often saw was that the Klingon role was that of the hyper-masculine man, acknowledging that there were other routes, but something that we see from Jenkum Pog is specifically the identity of alpha-dom, I guess, like not necessarily a gendered identity of being the coolest guy in the room, but Jenkum Pog offers us an opportunity to re-examine, I guess, sort of what makes, and I can't think of what Divana is right now. And as soon as you say Orion, he sort of offers us a chance to examine the other side of what an Orion might be.
All right, yeah.
And I think there is a really incredible balance to the identity of pride in this sort of character, because your teenage years, your coming of age, is when pride is the most important thing to you in so many ways. That this character is from a community of pride, but chooses to base himself on the quality of what he offers his friends, is a redetermination of the sorts of things that we often think define alpha masculine characters. And for that, I am very excited. So I guess I am saying I'm really glad he's breaking Greek stereotypes.
I mean, yeah, I'm excited for season 2 for a ton of reasons. Now that I've actually, I really need to go back and watch season 1 before season 2 starts dropping for sure, because now I have the better understanding of Voyager to better understand the Delta Quadrant and Delta Quadrant shenanigans, which I did not have at the time. Janeway references the salamanders in Prodigy, and so now I understand that reference. But I'm really curious to see these characters now interacting with our universe. I fear, though, that this is a branch of the universe that is far too remotely distant from everything else. Like, I would love if there's a surprise Cerritos appearance on Prodigy Season 2, but I doubt it. But we are getting the Doctor, for sure, so that'll be interesting.
And I believe Chakotay has recorded voice stuff for Season 2.
Yeah, so I'm interested, but again, much like I bumped down Picard Season 3 because of less likeliness for longevity or interacting with the overall running story, I'm going to agree and knock these dudes down to a B.
I mean, I changed how I dress. I mean, Pike, that's the man I want to be now. I have forsaken all of their daddies. There is nothing for me after Strange New Worlds, but abandoning what I used to be and just wanting to be this show. Whether it is the reinvention of Nurse Chapel and Pike as characters that give me something to re-love from the classic in a way that I could have never hoped to, or it's the brilliant original characters like Laan or Ortegas, who are two of the greatest characters I ever could have hoped for, or it is people who had such unbelievably big shoes to fill, like the reimaginings of Number One and Uhura. I could have never imagined that these women would step in and would blow the doors off of these performances when the women who stood in those shoes in the first place were so big. I think Strange New Worlds is perhaps the finest moment of the Star Trek universe, and I'm just so glad that I get to be a Trekkie in this age. This is my S plus show. This is my S plus crew. I just want to be Pike. I just want everybody to feel as safe as people feel when they watch Pike cook. That is why I watch TK cook. That is how I feel when we all crowd around him cooking in the kitchen. It is the greatest example of a sci-fi crew ever, perhaps outside of the Battlestar Galactica bridge crew from their reimagining. And I am just so excited to give this my S plus.
Was this your only S plus?
No, I gave 18 things an S plus, but I wanted to make this one sound really important.
Yeah, okay.
And we only had 17 things to talk about, so I said 18.
Yeah,
but I just love this show so much, as you guys know.
What do you got, Kevo?
I mean, agreed on so many levels. Especially now that we are watching TOS, we have The Naked Time next. So that's going to be interesting. A classic.
Fine.
We'll watch it with the boy. He'll find it interesting. What? That's the boy. He's over there. Hold on. Ali Galactic said, this might sound weird, but I never finished the show because it felt too nice. I don't know how else to say it. Like, love the cast, but I thought I was going to get diabetes from it. I get that. I don't have so much of a problem with it. And I'm curious to see from the dramatic point that we left off at the end of season 2, what season 3 will bring. I hear that even, and I wonder if that is a byproduct of the fact that we are now down to 10 episode seasons. I understand the complaint that we don't have 22 episode seasons anymore. Such is the way that television is evolving. We just kind of need to accept that. So we are in a habit of giving away free ideas. I would love in season 3 of Strange New Worlds to see an episode of the show produced in the style of TOS. Because I really... God.
No, I'm marveling at the idea.
I feel like as I'm watching, I really want to see the reverse as well. I want to see these stories restored in the spirit in which they were intended to modern standards, because there is stuff like that. Yauman Janice sure is a hot piece. She's 17. That's gross. I don't think that they would do it the same way now. And so I'd be really curious to see certain things like that, especially with the cast that we have slowly been given, that we are being given. I love all of the new actors that we have been given in these characters so far. Did
you watch all of DS9?
Yes.
So you saw the Mirror episode where they do, where they do it in the style of old Trek.
Yes.
Which is, was pretty low budget at the time and a little janky, but very cute. I think that's a really fascinating idea that they could do beautifully, and figuring out how to keep conscious of the aesthetics while not making them too perfect, which is something that's so beautiful about Strange New Worlds, that they picked up on everything that is great about the 60s developed aesthetic, but then pulled it for modern standards and to kind of play around with that. I really do love that idea, but that's not what we're talking about. Is this an S plus for me, man? Oh, I think it is. I feel like maybe I shouldn't, because it should be, I should keep it to the ones that I gave it to and not overuse S plus. But then I'm like, they did a musical episode and it was so great.
It was so great.
They will not make that Kirk brother seem the least bit heterosexual, no matter how much the poor actor is trying.
His mustache literally says, "Hey guys, I know that it's the future.
Men ride for free,
but
women pay a year's salary."
I accept pansexual. He's going to end up married with kids
Sure.
and dead.
Sure.
But there are going to be a lot of men on the road to that end.
Okay, but his mustache literally says Miami AIDS epidemic is all I am trying to say.
I mean, it does. Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. I'm gonna
I know.
do it.
I don't know. What are you saying?
I'm gonna give it the S plus. I'm gonna dream of a better future and a brighter world.
Wow.
And
In the past.
In the past, and I'm gonna give it an S plus. Mbega, phenomenal actor. Really stoked to see if he can get his daughter out of that transporter buffer.
Well, and if I can, So I am famous for having bits that I commit to so hard that it makes me unlikable. I famously used to give the Oceanic people a humorous hard time on reality shows until Drag Race Down Under was literally one of the finest examples I've ever seen of a reality competition. And I changed my tune. There's a performer on Drag Race versus UK versus the World who is French. So of course I kind of made some surrender monkey jokes, but nope. What a fucking queen, king, and everything in between. I sounded like an idiot. And I hate Khan. I can't think of a fictional character I think is more overrated. And then we get to Leon. And
yeah, she's so great. And we really wanted to hate her at first. You wanted to hate her so bad.
I literally shouted over her dialogue until I could literally read it and see that it was some of the smartest dialogue you could have given a character on a Star Trek show. And I just had to shut the fuck up and listen.
And then she even is very stroppy and very difficult and very hard to love at times.
Ugh, my type.
She works so hard on herself and has come so far by the end of season 2 that she is really one of the most amazingly dynamic characters. And everything about the character they've developed and the performance from the actor 100% justifies everything about this insane canon twist that it is to have her be this descendant of Khan. Too many Noonien, too much of that name, too much Noonien, too much Sung, but she makes it work.
No. I'm Nuni, and this is Nuni.
Me.
Nice to meet you, Mike.
Dog show.
I have a problem because I still to this day think Goth Talk is the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Okay, I think that we are, before we finish this bracketeering session, already pitching a bracketeering session of our favorite SNL talk show sketches.
Yep.
Because that whole genre, 2 Nay Greeks just ran off the show.
Ooh-wee. All right. Ooh-wee. S plus
you...
for me. I think, TK, you give it an S plus as
S
well?
plus. Yep.
Kevo, are you giving this P plus an S plus?
You know what? In the spirit of Starfleet, in the spirit of hope and the future, in the spirit of S Club 7, yes, I think I'm going to go with S plus, because I have hope for the future, which is an S Club 7 song. And so here we are.
You know,
we did it.
I love
Here's how it's looking so far, folks.
Yeah, I love seeing that the whole world mostly likes this. So, don't get me wrong. I am very lucky to be loved by so many wonderful men. And occasionally a few people don't join the video experience, and aforementioned boyfriend, of course. But so my gay dad, right? Like if you're a gay man of a certain age, you had a gay dad. And my gay dad, I sent him this, and my gay dad voted. And
does he have any concept of Trek?
Huge Trekkie. Huge.
Why don't we talk about that more?
Major disco fan. So my gay dad.
No.
Yeah, he voted Enterprise as the worst, and so it's just nice to see it at the bottom. But anyway, until the magical day that Chad decides to be on the show, we will just take his votes and just be really excited he chose to join us for this adventure. The thing I want to say more than anything is we had Mark, we had Tasty Cake, we had Allie in our chat with us, we had Peak Jonah.
I only want to say to Mark, did you rank the STO animated, the original Star Trek animated series? I think that we were just qualifying that as the same cast as the Enterprise. That's the only reason we didn't include them. It adds a few characters, but it only adds a few characters for that show, and then they disappear. So that I think of those people as guest stars.
When you think about a Star Trek, you think about the people that are on the bridge, but automatically the people that are not on the bridge, the people in the medical lab, the people in the kitchen, the people that just live on the ship, like your Jake Siskos. These are the characters that come to define what makes the show so cool. And the three of us can stand up here screaming, explode. But it's a whole lot more fun when there are so many people in the audience to talk to. And it is a really magical thing to get to talk about what makes a crew special, because we are interacting with a group of people that we love to listen to talk. And we have a group of people that love to listen to us talk. And I just want to say, thank you for ranking us better than a D class as well, that you're here with us. It makes it really special. And, as always, thank you for joining in and being part of the team. And tomorrow, if you happen to be in Maryland, you can catch me, Peak Jonah, and Kevo hanging out at the amazing Farpoint convention, where we are guests of none other than Amanda Martini, the unbelievable and amazing. We have some incredible guests that are going to be there with us, like Dax exclamation point, among others. It's going to be really exciting. As always, I'm going to spend a stupid amount of money there. Fun fact, Farpoint Convention is where I got my good Green Lantern ring, the official DC Direct one. So really excited to be there tomorrow. You guys can check us out there. But, and I'm saying but because we have like a 3-hour drive home, but you will still be able to check us out at like 8:30 tomorrow night, doing our normal show. We have Drag Race UK versus the world. We have I looked it up, the craziest fucking traders. They introduced a mechanic that has not been seen in any other version of Traders. And I think it was to manipulate the show because they were afraid they were going to lose the best storyline they've got. And we're going to talk about that. And also there's going to be a magical mention for the incredible 2-part premiere of Abbott Elementary. Just mentioning it because it was a really good episode and they did a really cool bit to open it up with. And big fan. So, okay. Anyway, I am the luckiest guy in the world that this is my Starfleet crew. Whether it's the people in the audience, whether it's the people that, oh yeah, Kevo, that is a rat ass hoodie, and you should celebrate that comment. I put on Peak Jonah bought like an authentic piece of Starfleet merchandise, and I looked like a potato in it. So for fear of being the first Sontaran in a Starfleet uniform, I doffed it. But Kevo's over here looking so good, I just want to doff him out of that uniform. So, Kevo, I want to thank you so much for producing an unbelievable show. I don't think you even knew what the topic of today's episode was until yesterday. So, all things considered, man, you blew this out of the water.
Thank you. I just got to this comment. Thank you, Ali Galactic, for the rat ass hoodie comment. I think I got these from Walmart, was it, Nico? And it's like they had this in a whole bunch of different color styles. I have it, but it's green up here and then gray down here. And then I have one that's red up here and blue down here. And I was like, I already have those too, but oh my God, that looks like a Starfleet uniform. I need to get this. And so it is just a really cute, comfy, thin hoodie that looks like I'm in Starfleet, and so this is what I will be wearing tomorrow when we do go to Farpoint, which we are super stoked for. It is one of our favorite conventions. We are super sad that the old venue is gone, but it's literally gone. That is no one's fault. and we are very excited for this adventure of the new venue. In the meantime, you can check me out on the socials at Kevo Really. That's KevoReally. Teak, where can the folks at home find you?
You can find me in Maine. I'm not going to Farpoint Con. I'm very sad about it, but they're gonna take lots of pictures that I can look at. In the meantime, I'll just be sad about it at my keyboard. So if you want to talk to me about that, you can do so at TK Elemental. Nico, how about you?
You guys can find me all over this amazing channel doing sorts of programming with these guys, all sorts of programming with these guys. You guys can find me all over my SoundCloud doing covers, originals, and more at soundcloud.com/NicoAction, plus at youtube.com/NicoAction as well, and the rest of the internet. But until then, you guys have to do 6 things for us. It's starting to sound oppressive. Okay. We would like you guys to do 3 things, and we would also demand that you do 3 things. No, it's sounding worse. Okay.
As you know, we're on YouTube, so there's 3 things that every YouTuber wants you to do.
Yeah, okay. Like, comment, and subscribe, because zombie.
That's for everybody.
Right?
If you're watching anything on YouTube, just do it.
All right, then 3 things that we feel unique for. Number 1, guys, stay safe. Nobody on YouTube says that. Number 2, be brave. That one's probably a little bit less common. But number 3, the most important thing you guys can do is evolve daily. Who you are today is amazing, and we love that. But who you're going to be tomorrow is even more incredible. And we support who you're going to be then as well. So until next time, do those 6 things. Come check us out in Maryland. Continue to be amazing Star Trek fans. I have not gotten the okay.
You haven't. Thank you so much.
I am going to keep vamping. I love this mariachi mix of Lower Decks.
And so I'm actually now going to take over vamping for you to say that you're a great captain for having done this, because I did all of the work to make the outro you are about to watch. And then I realized, oh shit, I did not upload it. So I've been vamping until it uploaded, and now we are good to go. So
all right.
Please enjoy this hard work. We look forward to seeing you again tomorrow.
So wait, does that make you Kevy the Vamping Slayer?
Yes.
And it makes
you the Vamp King. And until then, we'll see ya.